everybody. Give people a second to come on. There it goes. Crazy. Come on in. Hi, Angelica. So good you're here. Yay. Yay, and everything's working. They haven't kicked me out this time yet. Hi, Martina. Ooh, I've got some good info for you today, Martina. I think everybody's going to be pretty interested in this info. I know I had to experience it to learn it myself, so it's a pretty good share. Do me a favor, guys, and share this out if you want to. It's not, I'm still trying to share it and it still won't let me, so let's see. Nope. Only to my pages. Silly. Come on in, say hi, hi, hi. Come see me. I got some good stuff to talk about today. Aw, thank you, Martina. I've been trying. I looked better this morning, but I had to go running around. I got my kiddos home today, so I missed them so much. So that was exciting. And man, it's hot, hot here. And I made sure to stay in my car so I didn't have to wear a mask anywhere. I just don't like them. Hi, Dawn. Thank you, Angelica. I think more people need to hear this. This is pretty good info that took me forever to kind of understand and find out on my own, going through it the hard way and alone mostly. So come on in, give some good info, and then we'll talk about maybe some messages, because I just love doing messages too. I can't help that. And one of these times, you guys, I kind of want to come in and just do some healing. Everybody would be interested in that. We might do some chakra healing or some heart, just some heart healing. I think that's really important. Hi, Wendy. I'm so glad you're here. Come on in, everybody. I want to talk about awakenings. I want to talk about, you know, Kundalini awakenings, and then I want to talk about spiritual awakenings, because there is a difference. There's absolutely a difference, yet they all kind of follow the same path. Yay, messages, right? This was kind of what was coming through for me today, so I think it's really important, actually for the last few days, but I think it's really important for people to understand, because I see a lot of people taking advantage of people going through these stages. Hi, Lorianne, I'm so glad you're here. Hopefully we can make it today. I'm gonna get your message to you one of these days, right? So come on in. Share this out, you guys. Let's get this shared out as many places as we can. It's not letting me share it, and I don't know why. They've still kind of blocked me from that. I don't have any clue why. God forbid my message gets out there. Right? Yay, Donita! She made it. Gotta love it. I love you guys so much. I'm just so thankful you all are here with me. Yay! She gets to stay with me today. We'll be sure to get you your message today. We're getting closer to the kindness donation giveaway. I've got quite a few on there. Again, the more I get, I'd like to give away more healing sessions. I'm going to pull them on the 31st of this month, which is my birthday. Oh no, the phones are always, yeah, they've been acting weird today. So, you know, whoever does the kindness donation, or whoever does it throughout the whole entire month, I'll put it on the last day of the month for a free reading. And the more I get, the more I want to give out. So if you guys are interested in making a kindness donation, let me know. I'll give you the link. Otherwise, look for the winner to be announced on the 31st of this month. So anyways, all right, there are two main types of awakenings. Kundalini awakening I'll talk about first, which is what, oh, happy, Lori Ann, no wonder we get along so well. Your birthday's on the 29th. Well, happy early birthday, girl. We're both Leos. I love Leos too. Some powerhouses there, right? I'm a double Leo too, man. Sun and moon are both Leo, and I think my others, what do they call that, is Libra for me. So it's quite a mix. But it's kind of like the scales balancing out my lioness, right? I like it. But anywho, Kundalini Awakening, which is what I had. And I had no freaking clue what I was having. Absolutely, Angelica. I'll put it right up here right now. And I'll pin it to the top. Oops. She's asking about the kindness donations, so I'm just going to give her that information. Alright, and then like I said, the more I get, my goal is to be able to give out like 5 of them. I want to give out 5 of them just because it is my birthday month. And I really just enjoy doing the healing sessions, and it usually whatever we do in those sessions is whatever the angels or creator, whoever guides me to do. Okay, so it's whatever you need. I don't just sit there and say this is what we're going to do and that's that. It's really whatever you need, and that's what I do even in my free sessions, you guys. Which, you know, even on my website I have all these different sessions, but when we get into them it's really all about what you need. Because that's who I am, right? It's about healing you, healing the whole, healing the collective. And I don't wishy-wash. I give you exactly what you need. So I pinned that to the top for you. So it's up there. And if you do give one today, you'll also get a reading at the end of our discussion. Card pull, channeled message type of thing. And I don't usually hold back on those either. All right, so I take my shoes off. That's what I like about doing these. I can go barefoot and y'all wouldn't even know. So Kundalini Awakening is basically, I mean, those have been known throughout history, and there's different recordings about time frame of when they started happening throughout history and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to get into all that. You can do more research if you want to. But I'm going to talk about it because I really feel like it's important. I see people pay lots of money to have a Kundalini Awakening. I had a Kundalini Awakening. It's nothing I asked for. Again, I had no clue what the heck was happening. And when it hit, my whole world was just like, it was complete hard to live. It was hard to focus. It was hard to do anything in the world. It was so powerful. Each one for each individual is different. Some kind of come in spurts. Some hit you really hard. So what it is, it's like this Kundalini energy, which is said to be like the universal energy of the universe, knowledge of the universe. It's power. And man, it was crazy. And it's all coiled up at the base of your spine. Again, you can research this. Awesome, Angelica. We'll be sure to get you a message today too. You can research this because there's lots of info on it. And it would take a long time to talk about all of it. But it's energy that's coiled up at the base of your spine, kind of by your underneath, around your root chakra. And when it is activated, and I'll get into how it's usually activated, so that you don't go wasting money trying to hire somebody to teach you how to have one or access it for you. This energy is released, and they call it like a snake. It's like coiled up, and it goes all the way up. And when I felt it, I'll tell you how I felt it. Like it rose up my spine, and I could feel it go into my head, and it was the most euphoric feeling I had ever had in my life. And this is probably why people spend lots of money searching to have a Kundalini Awakening, right? But the problem with that is what I've learned, you cannot purposely have one. You cannot seek out to have a Kundalini Awakening. Not everybody will have one. More and more people are having them. However, it's usually designated that you have it from your higher self and your soul. Okay, it's part of your life purpose, your life journey. And what it allows you to do is help the universe, help the world, right? It's a power that not everybody can have, because you have to be really careful with it. You have to be really careful with it. And I'm not kidding you. You can make stuff happen without touching things. Like you see things. All these spiritual gifts are just boom, right at the heart center of your world. And you have no idea what is happening. It's extremely powerful. It's extremely potent. It can be scary. Euphoric, like you've never experienced. But again, you cannot force one. You cannot hire somebody, Because there are gurus out there who say that they can help you access it, but it's just not so. You know, I've purposely tried to have another one just to find out how I did it. And then through it's been a year and a half or so since I had my massive Kundalini awakening. And it comes and it's like a massive form of healing, right? So it's like this healing on like a speed dating healing, right? It just comes fast and it's meant to make you heal super fast and be able to give back to the world to help raise the vibration, and which is probably why more people are having it right now than ever before, especially way back when, right? Because now we are trying to wake up the planet. Now we are expanding our consciousness. We're raising our consciousness. So it is important to have these people strategically planted all over the world who help us raise our consciousness, who help heal the world, who help bring about the changes, okay? That is the purpose of a Kundalini awakening. My ear's ringing right now. So not everybody's going to have one. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. More people, however, so again, I'm going to say, don't go spending money trying to hire somebody to help you have a Kundalini awakening. I see Kundalini yoga teachers. I see gurus who say they're Kundalini masters. You know, you might be able to trigger one, but only if it was actually in your charts. Only if you're designated to have one, period. It doesn't mean anybody's better than anybody. I think it just has to do with where you're at in your evolution and your spiritual path and things like that, and it's charted in. It may not be charted in this lifetime for you, but it might be in the next. According to my past lifetimes and things like that, I do this every time I come in. Okay, so it's apparently who I am, right? That's a Kundalini awakening. Spiritual awakening, however, they kind of go along the same path. They just don't have that massive energy surge. Okay, it doesn't mean they don't have gifts. Doesn't mean they don't have access to the spiritual realm, just like those who've had a Kundalini awakening. Okay, so I'm going to go over now the different stages of a spiritual awakening, because these, when I first had my spiritual awakening, I did not understand them. And it's painful. I talked about that in my other videos. It can be freaking painful. It can be scary. It can feel lonely and confusing. And sometimes we feel like we messed up and there's no connection anymore. So I've said it. I've known people who've said it. I must have been forsaken, you know, or I must have done something wrong, or what's happening to me. So I'm going to discuss these stages because more and more people are waking up. More and more people are not quite understanding what's going on with them. And they're searching everywhere for answers. And I just want to make sure that we have the right info, right? And that we're not getting the wrong answers or taking the wrong actions or paying somebody thousands of dollars to help us get a Kundalini awakening or access our gifts and things like that. Okay. So there are two ways that awakenings come about. Okay. Right now, with the shifts of the planet, I feel like one of them is becoming more common than it used to be. But, you know, it used to be more and more relevant that chaos or tragedy would spark your spiritual awakening. That's what happened for me. So I started having a spiritual awakening before the Kundalini awakening hit. And again, I had no idea what the hell either one of them were. Okay, so Martina says, how do I find out what's in my chart? Honestly, I've had an astrological chart done, and they didn't mention a Kundalini awakening. What I mean by that is it's designated by your purpose on Earth. It's predetermined when you come in here. Oh, good, Angelica. Then I'm glad you're here today, because you're not alone. We're going to go over a lot to help you not feel so alone. But you can get an astrological chart done if you want to, you know, from an astrologer. But again, certain things were mapped out in mine that kind of suggested it, but it's not exactly what he said. So it is predetermined before you come here. Your higher self and your soul say it's time, and they activate it. Okay. Kundalini energy is very potent and it's alive. So it's smart. It's almost like it has a mind of its own, right? It has a purpose throughout its whole journey. And it's almost like a spiritual awakening on steroids. Okay, so you can try to get an astrological chart done. I don't know that that will necessarily be visible in it. I'm not sure astrologers are quite tuned into that aspect of it. I know looking at my own, you can kind of tell. And I know through my guides and through my experiences and through watching others that you cannot just purposefully access it, and you cannot stop it either. It comes and it comes. Okay. So I hope that kind of answers your question. So back to what causes your spiritual awakening. For me, tragedy hit upon tragedy hit, and then I watched my father die. Like, I watched my father die. I kind of woke him back up out of life support, which he wasn't supposed to, and then I had to slowly watch him die for a week. And that was after a bunch of other tragedies, right? So it was like one tragedy after another. But that caused me to start looking for answers because therapy wasn't helping me. I was, in the psychology field also. So I had all this knowledge to the mind, and things that I knew and things that my therapist knew just weren't helping me. So I started looking further and further, and that's when you start asking questions and you start really diving deep into the meaning of things, and that's usually what sparks your spiritual awakening. Because upon doing that, you start, whether you know it or not, you're guided, right? You're guided into that knowledge. Because it is, that spiritual awakening is also ordered by your higher self, right? And your soul. The other way is a spontaneous awakening. So there are those individuals, especially now, especially in the world with what's going on now, you're going to find that more often, where what they think is a spontaneous awakening. It's just really time. That's what it is. It's not necessarily spontaneous, other than the fact that you had no idea it was coming, but your higher self does, because it's just time. Okay? So those are the two ways you usually have your awakening. Same with Kundalini, right? So mine was after chaos. Then I started searching for answers. Then I started doing certain things and kind of waking up a little spiritually. And then, boom, that sucker hit hard. And then I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, it was crazy. I even tried to give it all back, let me tell you, because it was so overwhelming. All right, so that's the first stage, because there's like 6 stages of a spiritual awakening that we're going to discuss. And they're the main stages. Now, these stages fluctuate, and they're different for everybody, and not everybody hits every stage. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. But once you start having your awakening, you go into what is known as the stage of bliss. Okay, bliss, everything feels euphoric, not quite like the Kundalini way, but euphoric. You feel so connected, and you realize so much more about the world than you'd ever thought possible before. You feel so connected to God and the universe and animals, but you're kind of floating around up here, right? So in this stage, you're not quite grounded yet. This is just like, bam, everything's so beautiful. Your heart begins to open, by the way. So once you start awakening, that's why the bliss comes in, is because your heart starts opening and expanding and feeling things you may not have ever felt before. And if you had, it'd been like in pieces, right? So that's the bliss stage. Everything becomes beautiful. Your heart begins to open, which throughout your heart will open more and more, okay? The bliss stage can last anywhere from weeks to months. It all depends. It's all personal, and it's all about where you need to be and when you need to be there, as well as what you need to overcome along the way. Okay, so time frames are a little not so universal either. They're more personal. So you have the bliss stage. Everything's perfect and beautiful. You see so much more meaning. After that stage comes what I think is one of the hardest stages of awakening. Okay, and this is one that people don't seem to talk about. They don't talk about it. It hit me. I thought I did something wrong. I thought God was kind of punishing me, because you go from pure bliss to what they call the dark night of the soul, okay? Or what some call the great purge, because that's the whole purpose of it. So awakening truly means you have to release all of what you're not, okay? Now, upon this dark night of the soul, you don't just release this lifetime stuff. You can be releasing ancestor stuff. You can be releasing this lifetime stuff, past life stuff of your own, like it gets heavy, okay? This stage can occur multiple times also. So you kind of go back and forth between the stages. I've seen other people list stages and none of them quite explained it like this. So this has very helped me a lot to understand what the hell I was going through. In the dark night of the soul, you can go really dark. I did when mine hit hard. And then looking back, I've kind of been touching the dark night of the soul for the past year. Okay, so it's when things come up that we have to release. You can have visuals of past lives come up. I'm talking tragedies. During mine, I saw my dad again. Like I saw all these things happen. All this pain came up. It is literally the darkest part of your soul. And you're purging it. You are purging it. And you continue this journey until you've purged enough, right? And that's kind of why you go back and forth, because the further along you go, the more you have to purge. Now this is where you can experience major anxiety. You can experience a lot of anger, loneliness. You kind of feel like you're dying, right? Because you are. The old you is basically dying. You're releasing all, and beyond just you, ancestral, past lifetimes. And so stuff that you didn't even know you had to release, right? Because we do bring it forward into our lives in order to heal it. You know, not just for us, but our ancestors too. And this is why this part of awakening can be so rough. It is one of the roughest stages. And again, I felt like maybe I was being punished, like I'd done something wrong, because nobody explained this to me at all. And the people that I was reaching out to for help at the time, or like nobody told me what was going, nobody understood it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, so I'm gonna give this back in hopes to help others who might be going into this so they don't feel so alone, because it's heavy. Again, you can feel like you're dying. Our mind starts to go like crazy, right? And I'll give you some tips about how to get through these also. But your mind gets really heavy. It goes into a dark spot. Now what happens when we go dark? We think we're either going crazy, we think we're dying, we think something's completely wrong with us. It's just everything negative about yourself kind of tends to come up, and we tend to get stuck there. Yep, Lorianne, that's right. See, we all go through that. So that is a purposeful stage. And once you realize that that's what's happening, it helps alone, okay? That helps you tremendously just to know what the hell is happening to you, because then you realize nothing's wrong with you. It's actually a beautiful time of releasing and healing, and that will allow you to go into the next stage. But if you don't know what's happening and you don't have a support system, you can really feel like you're dying, like something's wrong with you, you're psychotic, you're whatever. And this stage has been known to take a long time to get through for some. It all depends on where you need to be and where you're at in your spiritual journey. But again, I'm going to also remind you that these are all stages that you kind of go back and forth from, and sometimes you can even be in multiple stages at once. So keep that in mind too. It's like one day you're in the bliss stage, then the next day you feel like you're in the dark night of your soul. And I mean, it may not be days, but okay, and you can go back and forth. So again, I'll give you tips how to get through that, because I've learned these on my own and they do help tremendously. You're not dying, but you are, so the old part of you is dying. It's all of the old stuff that you need to release is dying. So after you've done all that releasing, so much, I mean, it depends on who you are, and some of you might not even go through this stage necessarily. It all depends on what you need and where you're going. Once you get through that stage and you've released all this darkness, all this stuff, you go into what is called the void stage, which again, I had no idea what was happening to me here. I felt like, again, I'd done something wrong. You know, maybe God's mad at me, you know, because in the void stage, you kind of get shut down from everything spiritually. All of a sudden, you don't feel so connected anymore. when you're in the bliss stage, you start connecting to your gifts, right? Your intuition starts to kick in. You start to realize things, that you may be able to do things, you may be able to see things, you feel things, you know things. In the dark night of the soul, you still have that ability a lot, but it's shrouded in the darkness. Then you go into the void. The void, you have no connection. It's like an in-between. The universe tends to shut all the doors on you. Okay, so it's not like anything's wrong with you, but you all of a sudden feel like you can't ground. You're not connecting. You're not getting guidance. You're like, what's going on? Did I lose everything? But what this really is a way to heal after the dark night of the soul. And I mentioned the healing part in my last video, is after you release all that stuff, you have to heal it. You have to rest. You have to rejuvenate. Your body kind of cocoons in, and you're kind of protected in a lot of ways that way. But that's really what the void stage is. But it's a good stage because you're really getting, it's like an in-between of the old energy that you've just released all that of. So you've not quite come into your new self yet, but you're no longer your old self, right? So it's, who the hell am I now? And in this stage, you can really look in the mirror and go, who am I? Like, I didn't know who I was anymore. And I know that feeling. But then right after that, and this can last weeks to months, it all depends on you and where you're going with it. After that, you go into what they call the grounding stage. So you start integrating into your power. You start learning how to connect again to the earth in a new way, because the old you is no longer so, and now you're kind of learning who you are. And you become connected again. You start to feel that bliss again, you know, that knowing, the happiness, the connection with God and the universe and the angels, or whoever you connect with, however it works for you. You start going back into that feeling, except this time it's better, because this time you are so grounded. Whereas in the bliss stage, you were kind of floating off in the universe in La La Land going, holy crap, this is so great. But now you're like, ooh, I've got power and I'm here on this earth, and what can I do with it? So you start going into your power. And this stage lasts quite a while, okay? And again, you can always go back into a dark night again to release more and to purge more as it comes up. So don't be freaked out if that does happen for you, okay? And we will discuss some tips here shortly. Then the final stage of awakening. Yeah. Oh, Martina, me too. But that's kind of what we do until we get to this final stage. So I'm glad you brought that up, the kind of who am I, what am I here for? Because after you learn to go through all those first stages and then ground into the earth even more while housing this new energy, this new you, this new connectedness, the final stage, and the one you carry out for the rest, is going into your purpose and your life mission. Okay, so all this is kind of a preparation of a release of all the old crap, a realization of who you really are, you know, complete purging, and then learning to integrate your new energy, and then learning what your purpose really is. Now, I'm going to tell you, we don't always know our full purpose. I know a lot about mine, only to a degree, because my guides have told me and shown me before I was even ready to hear it. Be like, you're nuts. I'm not going to do that. Like, that's not me. Who am I? Why do I have to be so different? Kind of a thing was my journey. But in the final stage, we go into the purpose and the life mission. And what this really means is you're ready to live it. You're ready to be committed. You're ready to be protected. And you're ready to just, you're kind of a grown-up now, right? You're like, I'm not going to let all these other energies come in and disrupt me. I'm connected. I have a purpose. I have a mission. And I'm going to do that mission no matter what tries to stop me, no matter how much negative comes at me, no matter who says that I can't or that I'm crazy or whatever, okay? So that is the final stage of your awakening. So you can kind of look at it of like ripping off a band-aid of who you once were, purging all of the shit, right? And then housing you in this new, brand new, powerful, grounded container of all your power and all your knowledge and your purpose. That's really what a spiritual awakening is. Okay? And it does get painful, it gets scary, it gets confusing, especially if you don't know all this stuff, because I didn't. Top that off with the Kundalini crap, and then everybody hated me for that. Like, I knew so many people were like, how do I do that? How do I do that? And it's like, I don't know. Because I didn't know. I didn't ask for it. I didn't search for it, and I didn't have to try for it either. It just happened. So that's my point with the Kundalini. Please don't go pay gurus or these people who say they can help you have a Kundalini awakening, because unless you are meant to, you're not going to. Not everybody's going to have a Kundalini awakening. More people will have a spiritual awakening, which is happening more rapidly all over the earth because it's supposed to. Okay, but still, again, not every single person is going to have a spiritual awakening either. They may to a degree. It might be a little bit, might be none at all, and it might be massive. Okay, so everybody's different, and you will fluctuate back and forth between these stages. If I would have had this information when I was going through mine at any point in time, it would have helped tremendously. So that's why I thought it was important to come on and talk about this today, because you can sit there and beat yourself up. Why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? Am I crazy? I talk to angels. Am I crazy? I'm seeing spirits now. Am I crazy because nobody else around me is going through this, right? Then you learn about your vibration and different vibrational pulls, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It can be scary. It can be confusing. But it's all beautiful, and it's all purposeful. It all has meaning, individual as well as universal. Okay, and you are meant to give back, right? That's why we have these things. We aren't meant to be shrouded in crap and lies, and so the spontaneous awakenings. Pay attention. They're going to happen more and more rapidly. They already are, and it's going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to have more of people around us. So that feeling of being alone, for those of us who started waking up first, are going to be able to help everybody else as they come along too. Okay? We're not really alone. But remember, not everybody will. So to some people, you might still seem crazy, and that's okay. But it is what it is. So I hope that really answered a lot of questions for some of you, a lot of what's going on. Now I'm going to talk about some tips. Okay? As I mentioned before, the whole part of an awakening is to open up your heart space. It's starting to learn to access your heart space, which is really where all of our gifts are housed, to be honest with you. It's not in our head. It's also removing of ego. You learn ego is not really in charge. And we learn how to navigate away from ego and more into our heart, into love, into joy, into oneness, connectedness. That's what spirituality is really all about, right? You start feeling into the energies of the earth, feeling into the energies of other people, realizing we truly are all connected. I don't care what color you are, I don't care what country you live in or state you live in or the way you talk. We're all connected. We all affect each other, which is why everybody's kind of being called to wake up now. That way the earth's vibration raised is enough, and there's no more control and falsehoods and shrouded crap. So that's really what's going on. That's the purpose. So the first tip I have said many, 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 many times. So for those of you who talk to me often, for those of you who've worked with me, for those of you who watch my videos, the biggest thing I always say is you have to surrender, which is not easy. Especially when you're going through the hardest parts of your awakening, the dark night, and even the void can be really hard because you're like, oh my God, now what's going on? I have no connection. I don't feel like I can ground. I'm not getting my guidance. I've been there. Kind of recently. I go back and forth sometimes because it's like a healing stage. You have to surrender. That's when you're like, okay, then what I'm going to do in this stage is step back, cocoon in, make sure you're meditating. That's the next step, right? Got to learn to calm that mind. That is super, super, super important because our mind takes over, especially in the dark night of the soul stage. We think we're dying, which a part of this really is, but we really start to go, oh my God, I'm crazy. This is really dark. What is wrong with me? I'm schizophrenic. Your mind can take over in all of these stages, not just the dark night of the soul. Okay, and it's very powerful. Our minds are extremely powerful, right? It's a good tool and it helps us in many ways, but it takes over and it shrouds our heart space, and that's not what we want. So surrender, and then learn to control your mind. It is absolutely difficult, but it's absolutely imperative. It is something you have to do. Okay? And there are different ways to do that, and we'll kind of go over one a little bit with you if you'd like to, because I had to learn. I was what they called OCD and PTSD. You know, growing up in trauma, I tried so hard to find something to control, and OCD developed. Before I had 3 kids, my clothes couldn't even touch hanging in my closet. Like, it was that bad. My jeans were all lined up, my white shirts were with white shirts, colors with certain like, it was really, really bad. My shoes couldn't even touch. I would go back to my front door and check the doorknob 5 or 6 times to make sure. Like, it was really bad. I had OCD so bad. You guys, in my hair, I don't know if y'all know, but it's past my butt. And so I would spend a good hour and a half in the shower because it was so meticulous. OCD, antibacterial soap. I would have to, like, wash my hair, then antibacterial my hands. Wash my face, then and it was that bad. I was full-blown OCD. So when you are in that, it's your mind. Your mind takes over. So the first thing I had to do was learn to control my mind, and it is not an easy thing to do. So I promise you the tips I gave you work. You just have to use them. Okay? It's almost like an internal battle of, no, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this. You're not going to control me, type of a thing. So surrender, control your mind. You have to. And the more you learn to calm your mind and control it, the easier it gets. Okay? You can really truly separate from it. Think of it like breathing. You know, we don't think about breathing. You can pay attention to the breathing, but we kind of just let it go, right? We don't focus on it unless we're intending to. Okay? So it's the same thing with the mind. You don't focus on your thoughts unless you need them, unless you intend to, and you can learn to control that. It's like a muscle. And then another thing that works to get through all of these stages is mantras. Mantras can be just simple affirmations. I am okay. I'm going through releasing. Everything is okay. I'm not alone. And you can say these things over and over. These horrible images I'm seeing are not of this lifetime, or it's just necessary to release. I release you now. Right? I'm going to get through this. That's a really good way to surrender and continue positive affirmations. It's also a good way to train your mind. Okay, so those are really powerful tips. Always, always surrender. The moment you try to control anything is the moment it gets 10 times worse. Okay? And when you try to control it, when you try to control the dark night or stop it, good luck with that. I tried. I didn't want to go through that. I don't want to go through this. I don't want it. You can take it back. I don't want my gifts. Oh my gosh, because nobody understands them, right? That was a hard thing for me. You can't. It gets worse, and it takes longer to get through each stage. So keep that in mind. Surrendering is key. Calming the mind. And then the biggest tip that I have for you is continued heart work. Okay? Really work with your heart. You know, tapping. Tapping is a good way to focus into your heart space and get out of the mind. Okay, here's a little tidbit. Alright? Is that when you're learning to control the mind or calm the mind, think of your thoughts as like what I would do when I first started meditating and calming my thoughts and trying to get out of the OCD and out of all the trauma that had just happened and understand my awakening, is I would have these thoughts come up while I was trying to sit there so hard trying to meditate, and I would literally imagine my thoughts and I would put them in a flipping bubble or like a balloon, and I would just kind of watch it float away. Okay, that is one way. And the more you do that, the easier it gets, and the easier the thoughts just don't come up so much. Okay, and you can also say thank you, but you're not needed at this time, and then put your focus back here at your heart space. Okay, that's one way. Another way, where was I going with that? Is that whenever you have those negative thoughts come up, like when you're going through the dark night stage or the purging stage, the great purging stage, you can get really dark. You can have some really, really, really dark thoughts. The moment you do, you need to immediately replace those thoughts with happy thoughts, okay? And it's not easy. It's like learning to drive a car or learning to ride a bike all over again, right? Like having that knowledge ripped out from under you and having to redo it again. Okay, so you just keep doing it. It's like creating a new habit. You're learning to turn a negative mind into a positive one by doing that. So that will help you in many, many ways. And it also, teach your kids to do that too, right? Oh, you're gonna have a tissy fit? You're gonna get mad? Why don't you look at it this way? And I do that with my daughter, and it actually works. Like I can see like the little switch go off, and she'll just all of a sudden be like, you're right, and move on. I don't need that type of a thing. So it really does work. Simplify it, it does work. Okay. Another secret that you could do is you kind of go into your heart center, focus there, and then I want you to imagine like your awareness. Your awareness all of a sudden starts to expand, and then bring it out to outside of yourself. And you keep breathing with it, and then you expand your awareness even further out from yourself, out into your home. Okay, then you do it again, out past your home, into the world or into your neighborhood. And you just keep going with your awareness and keep visualizing this energy field expanding further and further out into the neighborhood, the planet, the universe. Okay? That is an absolute secret tidbit right there that helps raise your vibration, by the way. Hi, Klecky. I think I got it right this time. We've gone over a lot of info, so make sure you watch the replay if you've missed any of it. But that will help you raise your vibration, as well as learn to calm your mind, learn to drop into your heart space, and also teaches you how to feel into the energy field. Okay? So those are really, 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 really good tidbits that I learned teaching myself how to get over these things, because I was all alone. I did it completely alone, had no idea what the hell I was doing, thought I was going crazy because, hell, I was OCD and PTSD, so I must be crazy, right? I must be crazy. I'm hearing animals talk to me after my Kundalini awakening. I was seeing ghosts in my home, spirits in my home, like I could see them. Like it was nuts. I thought I was crazy. And nobody I talked to, everybody thought it was just a spiritual awakening, because again, Kundalini awakenings are not that common. And please don't go pay somebody thousands of dollars to have one, because unless you're designated to have one, you're not going to. It's quite a responsibility that most people wouldn't even want anyways. Because once you have one, your life's not about you anymore. It's about helping the world. Okay? So, every bit of who I was has died since then. I'm being reborn on a daily. Alright? So spiritual awakenings are just as great, because you can still kind of hold on to some of who you are, in my opinion. But with all that being, that was a lot of info. I kind of gave out really fast. So if you guys have any questions, I really felt like people needed to hear this, because nobody told me about it at all. Yeah, Renee, definitely look at the replay, Renee. I really was thinking of you when I was going over all of this. And going, oh my gosh, nobody told me that. Oh my gosh, nobody told that. So we talked about the different kinds of awakenings and the different stages that we go through, and then really good tips to get through, which I know most of it you'll probably already know. But yeah, watch the replay. So if any of you have any questions about all that, I'd be happy to answer them. Be happy to give you some tips. Again, my biggest warning today is please don't go pay somebody thousands of dollars to have a Kundalini awakening. I watch that happen, and I watch it not work over and over and over and over again. You cannot force it. You can request it all you want. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. You can go ahead and bend your back. You can breathe all the ways you want to. I thought that I accessed it on purpose, but I didn't. It happens, and it's ordered by your soul and your higher self, period. It's a time and it's a purpose, and then after that you're kind of not living for you anymore. All right, Martina, well, I'm glad you were here. So I think that's my biggest tip of today, is that This stuff is real, it's purposeful, and it's going to start occurring more and more throughout the world. You're welcome, Martina. I hope you got something good out of that. I know there was a lot of, we've just been kind of going through it. Aww. Yep, Renee, I'm telling you, I think watching the replay, you're going to be like, oh man. Yeah, you guys, it was really good info. It's the different stages. And they're not universal, but they are. Some stages people go through. You're welcome, Lorianne. And some don't. And then you kind of go back and forth. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but you can be in 2 more stages at the same time. It's kind of like a dual reality. So keep that in mind. You're welcome, Donita. Sorry, I didn't see all the comments. So I hope this was really helpful for you guys. It helped me, and I wish I would have had this information when I started my journey, because it would have saved me a lot of time and heartache and battles, right? Thanks, Angelica. I didn't surrender so easy at first. You fight it, you think something's wrong with you. Learning to control your mind is really, really, really not an easy task, and you've got to, good. I'm glad, Martina. And you got to work through it and learn to calm that mind and learn to get it to work for you, basically, right? Ego is powerful, but it's really not all at the same time. They'd like to be in control, but ego is also detrimental. So it's really good to work through that and get it to shut the hell up half the time. And then kind of everything is from here. I will say that to all of my clients. I say that all the time on a lot of my videos. That our heart space is really the center. Our heart space is really our connection. I tell people all the time, you got to drop down into your heart space, and that's what that means. And some people don't get that. Hi, Descent. For some people, it is really hard to learn how to drop into your heart space. And so you just kind of, that's why tapping on your sternum right here is a good way, because that puts your focus there. And you just tap into it and feel into that space and hold your thoughts there and breathe. Pay attention to your breaths. Okay? And then when thoughts pop up, you take the thought, say thank you, you're not needed now, put it in a bubble and watch it float away. And that's really how you learn to drop into your heart space and control your thought patterns, control your mind, control your thoughts. It's how you learn to meditate. Absolutely how I learned to meditate. Because it didn't just come naturally. Another thing that worked for me was vibrations. And you feel it into yourself, right? Vibrations. It's super, super beneficial. And also, you guys, just by simply doing these techniques that I've shared with you today can help you heal. It can help you start to heal. Every ailment, everything. Okay? It can really be the beginning of a healing journey for you. So these are really good tips. They're really good tidbits, and I really highly recommend them. There was something else I was thinking, but it must not have been that important. Yeah, so if you have any questions about that, there was so much there, but it's all really good tips I wish I had. Absolutely so. Meditating. It's also like going into the space between. That's another way to learn to control your thoughts, is the space between. So you can imagine a word. Wayne Dyer, my hero, he would use the Bible verse, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And to him, that was a way to connect to God, to power source, to I am, right? To I am that I am. Because we all are one. We all are a part of God. So anyways, he would envision the word our and then the word father, and he would see them in his head. Absolutely, Angelica. I'm going to do those really shortly. I'm going to get right into those. He would see those in his head, and he would say our, O-U-R, father, F-A-T-H-E-R, and then he would drop his attention into the space between. And you hold that attention in the space between longer and longer each time. Okay, so that's also another way to control your thoughts. So, with that being said, I guess nobody has any questions about all that. Shoot. Man, that was powerful stuff when I learned it. So I'm going to move on. I owe Lorianne a card because she donated a couple times ago. And then Angelica donated today, so I'm going to do a reading for her as well. So if you guys have questions, let me know. Or do you just want me to feel in, see what's going on, and ask for whatever answers you may need? It's up to you. Lorianne, what would you like? I do have my thing up, so it may take me a second to see your comments. I don't know why it does that. You're welcome, Lorianne. You know, it's heavy, and I feel like, honestly, with these spiritual awakening steps, we're going through them like super speed because of what's going on in the earth. And it's hard. You go into the dark night of the soul, and you're purging all this shit, and it gets really heavy, and then you go, it's like so fast. Okay, whatever I get. And so, not knowing what's going on really makes it hard to surrender. Yay. You're welcome, Wendy. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so Lorianne's got no specifics. She just wants general, and so does Angelica. All right. I'm going to go into Lorianne's energy field. Ooh, Lorianne. Immediately I was taken to your solar plexus. I feel like there's just like this big knot right there. Huge knot, and it's affecting my back. Whew, like big time. And that's not mine because it wasn't there 2 seconds ago. So I feel like you've definitely, okay, the word balance is coming up, so there's something that's not quite in balance. Some imbalances going on, a little bit of anxiety, possibly about what's coming up. And so I feel like your solar plexus is a little bit blocked. All right. Today I'm doing the donation-based ones. So I'm going to do Lorianne donated a couple times ago, so I owe her. Angelica, I owe her. And whoever is donating gets entered into a free drawing for the end of this month on the 31st. I will pull it. I want to give away 5 of healing sessions with me. So that's what this one's about. So if you did want to do a kindness donation, that's totally up to you. You do not have to. My info is pinned at the top. Okay, Lorianne, so that does sound about right. So, yep, solar plexus is blocked. Definitely got anxiety because now it's kind of moving up into my throat space too. So you know that you need to make, like, it's just time, you know, and I know you can feel it. Your body's telling you, so you just got to listen to your body. You got to take a step back, listen to your body, and do whatever it needs for you to do. I also feel like salt baths are a little important too. That'll help you kind of draw out all that toxicity. And then just kind of call on the earth to help with that, okay? Also, kind of pay attention to where things are a little bit out of balance and try to create a balance within them. Worry, there's definitely worry going on too. So you just kind of almost got to be willing to take the risk is what they're saying. You got to be willing to take the risk. What is it worth? Is it worth it to you to take the risk, or is it worth it to you to not take the risk? Do you like this uneasy feeling, and do you like your solar plexus to be blocked up? Or do you want the flow, like, which can be scary? Oh, just sounds good. I hope you do, and let me know how they go for you. Lorianne, so it can be scary, but they're kind of saying, you know, what's it worth to you? Is it worth the risk, or is it worth not the risk and being miserable and out of balance all the time? But man, girl, I could really feel it in my mid-back. Actually, it's more like my mid-back towards my solar plexus. So your whole solar plexus is just, it's like off balance. I'm also hearing your macabre is coming up, so it's time to activate that. Okay. Yep. Now let's pull a card for you, Lorianne. I just love the cards. I don't really need them, but I think they're so much fun because they're pretty, and it kind of reiterates and also adds on sometimes. So here is the card. Yep, so deceit. Deceit is what came up, Lorianne, but I'm really feeling like this is internal deceit. Internal deceit, not so much on the outside, but so much from like old habits trying to die out, old pieces of who you are, doubts coming up, making you question things in the wrong way. So they're kind of making you think about things Okay, that sounds good. They're kind of making you think about things that aren't really necessarily so, and you're not looking at it in the way that maybe necessarily you should be. And you don't want to miss certain blessings because they look a little scary, and then you talk yourself out of them. Okay, so that's kind of the deceit that I'm going with, that I feel into. Um, the outside world can be a little bit deceptive right now too, so there's a lot of deceit going on in the outer world, that make us question a lot of things too, and make us question, well, is this a reality? Is this really going to go this way? Which one is actually right? Like, I'm seeing so much information right now coming at you, and it's kind of like I'm trying to make sure I pick out the right stuff, because if I don't want to take the left turn. That's wrong turn. I want to take the right turn, but I got to make sure it's the right turn, because right? Does that make sense? So that's kind of sorry, I went totally into your field, but that's kind of what I'm seeing going on for you. So they want you to just, yep, okay. So they want you to just kind of take a step back, make sure you're grounding. We got to get those chakras unblocked. And, connect to your heart space. Do some tapping, Lori. I think that will really help you too. Just sit there and tap your heart space. It kind of activates it, right? That was another thing I wanted to say too when I was talking about spiritual awakening stuff, is when grounding changes and when it's time to, we're not feeling quite connected, a really good way to get grounded is literally stomp your feet outside, stomp those heels into the ground. Like, it really does work. It's almost like breaking up old energy and allowing a new connection to form. It works. I know it works. So that's also another way to help ground. Okay. So hopefully that wasn't too much. Yeah. Good. So, Miss Angelica, let me clear my space a little bit. Yep, so immediately I felt my solar plexus just go poof, right back open. All right, Miss Angelica. Angelica, the word hope came up. The word hope came up. I'm almost like you've lost some hope in certain areas. First of all, they're saying they never want you to lose hope. They never ever want you to lose hope in anything, because anything and everything is absolutely possible. So don't ever lose hope. Don't ever, ever, ever lose hope. Just curious to see what those were that fell out. Oh, Kathleen, yes. Watch the replay, Sunshine, because it was absolutely all about awakening and the steps of awakening and what might be happening and tips to get through it. Okay, so Angelica, let me know you're still here, because I already started tapping in a little bit. Kathleen, it was stuff that I never heard of before, that I had to go through my awakening all by myself, and it can get really scary, so there might be some definite beneficial info in there for you. Angelica, Angelica. I think she is still here. And I know when I pin something to the top, I can't quite see comments till they kind of scroll up a little more. So I'm just going to keep going, Angelica, okay? Again, the word hope. They want you to have hope. They want you to have hope in the unseen. They want you to have hope in yourself. Hope in yourself. Hope in self. Hope in self. So, like, have faith and have hope for things that what you want, right? Raise your worth, because you can have whatever it is you want. Bring back hope. I have hope. Like, I have hope things are going to work out. I have hope I'm going to find the career that I want. I have a hope that I'm going to find the man that I want. Like, that's, and I just got chills. Yeah, Kathleen. Okay, good. Okay, so that's why it's coming up, okay? So they don't want you to lose hope. It's hard when we can't see things, but they want you to hold on to that hope. They want you to really kind of start to fill your cup. And I know it's really hard sometimes. Like, I hate it when people tell me you have to love yourself first. You have to love yourself first. How the hell do you love yourself when nobody ever taught you to love yourself, right? Nobody ever loved you, so it's hard to love yourself, because what is that? What is love? So it's really, really, really hard. I had to learn that the hard way. Yeah, and I feel like that's really important for you also. So what that means is, and this was hard for me to do, it's like, what makes me happy? I always like lost myself in relationships because I gave so much of me to them. So whatever they wanted to do, I wanted to do. Whatever brought them joy, I made sure it brought me joy with them, right? But that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. It's more important to always stand in your power, your truths, your worth, your wants, your needs, and then allow somebody's space to come into that with you, and vice versa. Okay? So that basically means just do what brings you joy. And if you don't know what that is, you have to do the steps to find out. So you could spend a day going, does this bring me joy? I'm going to try that. Does this bring me joy? I'm going to try that. Does this bring me joy? And so on and so forth. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. That happens when I'm releasing. So I think I just released something for you. Definitely let something out for you that was stuck in there. So yeah, I hope that's resonating. Yes. Okay. And I was channeling, and all of a sudden I forgot a lot of what I just said. So I hope you got it all. So now I'm going to see if there's anything else while I'm pulling a card. I also see you riding a bike. I don't know why, but I just saw you riding a bike down a sidewalk by like a green, grassy, almost like a playground, but I don't see like a swing set or anything. But I do see a sidewalk. It's really interesting. And the bike is like almost like an old-fashioned bike, you know what I mean, where the bars are kind of like this, and then the seat is white, and then you got the black tires with the white like inner rim or something. And you're riding your bike down the sidewalk, and you're like smiling, and there's more freedom. I'm hearing freedom. There's definitely more joy. I'm trying to figure out why they're showing me this. They're not exactly telling me, but that's what I see. So maybe that'll help you have some hope, right? All right, let's pull a card now. Yeah, playing. They want you to play. They want you to breathe in the fresh air. Go be a little kid again. There's nothing wrong with that. Go regress to childhood for a day and play and ride a bike and run through a grassy field with your bare feet and freaking kick a soccer ball. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, be purposeful and having fun. Okay, Angelica. This one's coming up a lot lately for a lot of people. And I know it's a little blurry, and it was for me too for a while there. But this is Healer of the Ages card. So when this comes up, that is absolutely telling me you've got stuff coming up that you need to release. All right, and that kind of goes along with the dark night of the soul. Great. So you might be purging, you might be having stuff surfacing that's going to feel heavy. It causes us to lose hope. It causes us to feel not loved or lost or alone or confused. Okay, so that might also be what's going on. So I want you to just ask for help in releasing it. Ask for it to be released with ease and grace and clarity and love. And really just drop in, kind of take your time and love yourself and learn to control that mind space, okay? It's absolutely imperative for you right now. So I really hope that helped. That was a lot. Man, I feel like I really got into those, and then it's like immediately the eraser came out and I forgot everything that was just said pretty much. But I feel like it was good stuff for both of you. Yeah. Yeah, Kathleen, I really encourage you to watch all of this over again. This was a really, really good informative video that took me a long time to figure everything out. And it goes right along with everything I've experienced and that I've known others to experience. Also goes along with what I help people do. So definitely watch the replay. So now I've got another one entered into the free drawing for the 31st. So remember, on the 31st, I will be announcing it. Hopefully I can pick at least, I'm hoping for 5. I'd like to give away 5 sessions. And these are healing sessions that caters to whatever you need, right? It's not like I'm just going to say we're going to do a chakra clearing. It just all depends on where you're at and what you need. And that's my goal. I love to do it. That is my whole purpose here. Like, I love to do it. Good. I'm glad you are. So I thank you all for coming. If anybody has any more questions, great. Otherwise, I might come back on tomorrow and do some more readings, so keep your eyes peeled and deliver any more messages that they want me to deliver and talk about. You guys, we're getting ready to go into the golden age, the golden era, the goddess era. I've heard it so many different ways. My guides tell me it's the golden age, and also the era of the goddess is coming back. But you can hear other people call it the age of Aquarius. It's here, like it's happening. But before it fully integrates, everything has to fall out. Okay, there you go, Angelica. Confirmation right there that you're in the dark night of your soul right now. Okay, so this was absolutely good news for you. And just know that it's purposeful. There's nothing wrong with you. So when those come up, just ask them to be released. Okay, you don't have to sit with the visuals. You don't have to sit with the crap that comes up, because it's not meant to hold on to. It's more just thank you for being here. Thank you for releasing. Thank you for allowing me to help ancestors. Thank you for allowing me to clear all this stuff. And then really fill your cup up. And that's probably why they showed me you on a bicycle. They want you to go play. Go release some energy. Yes. You're welcome, Jacinth. I love it how you kind of put into words everything I went into. Happy Friday to you too. Thank you guys so much for coming today. Again, if this resonates for you, make sure you share it out everywhere, because this is information. Like, I'm tired of watching people take advantage of people. Like, ooh, pay me $1,000 and I'll help you wake up your Kundalini. Hi, Sherry. Oh man, girl, you're coming in just at the last time. You should make sure you click the notifications for my videos, because I came on at 1:11, so I've been on a little over an hour this time. But I will come back on tomorrow, probably around the same time. Let's shoot for tomorrow at 1 o'clock again. So make sure you click the notifications button. Okay. And tomorrow I actually might do a heart healing, you guys. I feel like it's really needed. So I'm going to come on and we're going to do a little meditating and heart healing, okay? Yep. Angelica, yes. So, yeah, just, you know, beware. Share these messages out. Don't let anybody fall into the trap of pay me lots of money and I can help you do this, that, and the other, because there are people out here who really do support you. There are people out here who will tell you the truth. And you're not alone. Okay? Thank you guys so much for coming. Yay, Wendy, I'm so glad you were here. And I'm going to be back tomorrow at 1:11. So make sure you click the notifications button. Aw, napping is good though, Sherry. Absolutely must needed right now. So no problems here. Watch the replay because it had a lot of good information in it. And tomorrow, you guys, if you're wanting to join me, let's do some heart healing. So hopefully you're into that. I will see you tomorrow. Let's heal our hearts. So much love to all of you. You're welcome, Kathleen. Bye.